Yeah, the connection doesn't seem super awful, and I feel like that's because it's not like a million degrees, so the wires are probably not as bad.
The wires aren't as sweaty today, so
yeah.
like they do have wire sweat, and that does make it a lot harder for them.
I feel like my internet is a lot worse when it's very hot. And I think the infrastructure is absolute shite, and it probably is not made to withstand temperatures.
Well, does copper expand in the heat or something like that? I could see that being a...
It must be.
What if it just melts a little bit? Like the the cables just get kind of melty and they have to wait till they reform.
I don't know, I'm going to say, how does heat affect copper wiring? Please, this computer's so slow. Does heat affect copper wiring?
You type very aggressively.
I type with 2 fingers.
Jesus, Alison.
I can't do the proper typing. I never learnt.
You're a 27-year-old adult. You need to learn to type with more than 2 fingers.
I never learnt the other way.
You have 10 good typing fingers to use.
I use my thumbs and 2 fingers.
You're a professional writer.
Yeah, an increase in temperature of the copper wire will cause an increase in the resistance of the copper wire and will therefore reduce conductivity.
Okay, so it gets hot and the internet gets slow. That's super fucked.
That's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's great for us and this platform. Also, I think it means that our content is going to get way better in winter. Partly because the internet will actually work and because we'll be less miserable when we record it.
Absolutely. So there you go. Science lesson.
Assuming I maybe leave some of this in at the start. Hello and welcome to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the greatest news from Australia, New Zealand. And, like, I don't know, it's gotten pretty vague at this point.
Wherever.
Local news seems to be on the decline, maybe? So, like, we're sort of just spreading our wings.
Wherever fun stuff is happening.
Yeah.
You know, But that said, I do have a lot of Australian stories today.
Do we want to just cut right to the chase and start off with one of those?
Yeah, well, we will. Well, you know, a few weeks ago we had a few, like, blue-ringed octopus stories, and I said that blue-ringed octopuses were going to be octopi?
Octopi.
Is that what it is?
It's octopi.
Blue-ringed octopi were going to be back in vogue this year.
Octopus.
Octopus are in vogue this year. And I was correct, because this week there have been 2 blue-ringed octopus stories, 2 distinct blue-ringed octopus stories.
Ooh.
Neither of which involves kids trying to kill their parents this time.
Christ.
So, yeah, that was a little bit of a grim situation. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a blue-ringed octopus weekly roundup with the 2 blue-ringed octopus stories that I have encountered this week.
Welcome to our new segment, Octo News.
Octo Roundup. The weekly Octo Roundup. But look, I think it's just fascinating how animals go in and out of vogue, and blue-ringed octopuses haven't been popular in a while. We haven't heard from them. They've kind of just been under a rock, you could say.
Which is weird, because they're such flamboyant creatures.
They are beautiful animals, and I'm glad that they, as a species, have decided they want to make their comeback in the media.
Like, they have rings in the name. It sounds like a trap song, or like that Ariana Grande song that's on the radio. Like,
or the one that she got tattooed on her arm that said, small barbecue grill.
I want to see a music video for that song that's just like blue-ringed octopi doing like a cool dance to it. Like,
I, on the other hand, would like to see a music video for that song where she acknowledges her tattoo is small barbecue grill, and the entire thing is just set in like a barbecue.
What if it's just her doing like a video tutorial on how to use one of the small barbecue grills, and the song is quietly playing in the background?
That would be very good.
It's a good song.
That would be very meta. Ariana Grande, like, if you want this idea, you have to pay us, by the way.
We know you can afford it.
Yeah, you could absolutely. Like, any money at this stage. Maybe.
I will accept a small barbecue grill as payment.
Yeah, if you give me a free barbecue grill and maybe you can cook something for me on it. I don't know. Whatever. It's up to you. That part's up to you. But anyway, so the first one is from our great city of Sydney.
Okay.
And this is an exclusive story from 9 Local News.
Interesting. Everyone's favourite company.
Yeah, 9 News. And this is by Matt Dunn, who's a senior producer at 9 News. It says, exclusive! Deadly blue-ringed octopus found at popular Sydney beach.
Shit, that's not ideal.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great at all.
No.
So, in everyone's favourite beaches, a nature photographer has made a deadly discovery after stumbling upon a blue-ringed octopus in the water just metres away from children at a popular Sydney beach. Jahan El Omari was visiting Coogee Beach on Sunday when she noticed the venomous animal between the rocks at the McIver Women's Baths. I was walking around looking for something to shoot and became shocked when I saw the blue-ringed octopus in the water.
It took
she told
me
9.com.au.
a second there to sort of remember that she was a photographer to get the context of the word shoot.
Right,
because I was like,
yes.
This seems like a dangerous person, but then I figured
She's
it out.
walking around looking for something to shoot. Just anything. Yeah, basically. But no, she's not a psycho gunman.
You know how...
This isn't America.
You know how in some, like, video games, when you shoot some enemies, they'll explode into a cloud of poison? Do you think that, like, as, like, a damage, don't get too close thing? I feel like a blue-ringed octopus would do that. So
Yeah.
if you...
But it would be like a really nice, like, blue cloud of poison.
It would still kill you, though.
It would, absolutely.
It would drain your health at a rate of 1 per second to
And
a
then
maximum of 30.
If you managed to escape, you'd have, like, a poisoned moodlet that would hang over you for a long time.
Yeah, it'd be really annoying. You'd have to find an antidote on the corpse of someone who works for a company or something. Video games. You're great.
Oh, dear. So she says, re the octopus. It wasn't aggressive or anything, but when it saw me, it climbed out from under the rock before it camouflaged itself and disappeared into some seaweed. I put a stick in the water to move the seaweed, and I could see the markings on the octopus so clearly. They really started to shine. Why are you, like, perving on this poor octopus that's hiding in the seaweed?
Poking it. It's just trying to get, like, it
Just
literally...
don't poke the octopus.
It literally hid from you. Let it be.
So she's just, like, laid out here. The octopus wasn't aggressive. It went to hide, so she poked it with a stick.
The news story is Woman Annoys Octopus.
I like that the woman's name is El Omari, by the way, because it kind of sounds like calamari, which I think is really...
fun.
So I think from now on, I'm going to be reading her name as calamari.
I'm down for that.
I don't know if this is offensive to someone, but...
I mean, it's offensive to squids, definitely, because they don't like to annoy octopi.
No, they don't. They're very respectful to their octopi brethren. So it says, Ms. Calamari said it was a great moment to be able to capture the photograph of the animal, but admitted she knew she needed to be cautious. I know that they are very dangerous, so I made sure I didn't get too close. There were some kids playing around the rocks where I saw it too, so I told them not to move. So I told them to move, she said.
Okay, because I was going to say, if a woman is a bunch of kids and the woman's just suddenly screams, "Don't fucking move, kids!" Like, is there like a
as
bomb
she's
in the
shooting
water?
things,
Yeah.
she's looking for things to shoot. She says, "Kids, don't move."
I'm starting to think that this person's disturbed. I don't...
There are a lot of really nice photographs she took of this octopus, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
Her name's like Artsy Lens. That's her photography name. If you want to look up Eleanor Calamari's photos.
Do you think that...
They are very beautiful.
Do you think that wildlife view wildlife photographers the same way that, like, celebrities view paparazzi?
Absolutely.
Like...
This woman is just like... Clearly this octopus didn't want to have a photograph taken. It went and hid. And then she, like, pokes the octopus and seaweed with a stick and takes a photo without its consent.
And then it covers up its face with its tentacles, like, "No, don't see me. Not like this. I've just gone to the gym. I'm not photo ready."
I'm not wearing my Prada today.
I would love if National Geographic used the same kind of headlines that, like, Daily Mail pap shots have. Like, you know, octopus wears blue rings and looks tired. Like, divorce, maybe?
Bloating of octopus's underside. Is he pregnant? Question mark.
Does octopus need rehab? Not spending enough time with many children.
Oh, dear. So that's one of the Blue-ringed octopus weekly roundup stories.
Okay.
The other one is something that you may have seen floating around. It's a certain video that was
Oh, God.
being passed around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got so stressed watching a person try to kill themselves with an octopus.
Yeah.
Like, my God.
This is, well, the headline for those of you who have not seen this video floating around is Blue-ringed octopus video. Tourists pick up deadly creature with hands. Sorry, it should be tourist picks up deadly creature with hands, but they've got tourists picks up deadly creature with hands.
You tell them.
Traveller.com.au, that's not grammar. I'm going to read the headline with correct grammar, so then I'm not so tripped up.
This is why we shouldn't have fired all the sub-editors, guys. I know that money is tight and everything, but, like, check your shit.
Yeah. So the actual heading should be Blue-ringed octopus video. Tourist picks up deadly creature with hands. And basically that sums up what is the video.
Tourist essentially picks up, like, a dirty needle with their bare hands and, like,
With the needle, like, point.
into them.
Poking into their, like, skin. About to penetrate. It hasn't penetrated the flesh yet. But it could at any moment.
I never realized that blue-ringed octopi had to, like, actively poison you. I thought it was just, like, a passive poison.
They
like,
bite you. They bite you and the poison goes in.
That's
But the
horrifying.
thing is, their bites are so small and so, like, painless that you may not know you have been bitten if you're
just,
touching
like,
one.
pass out a few hours later and then
So
you're
it's
done.
really not ideal to be handling a blue-ringed octopus.
And if you do handle a blue-ringed octopus, don't just, like, let it be in your hand with its beak facing at your, like, hand. Hold it by the face or something so that it can't get you.
Grab it by its jaws, its little octopus jaws.
Hold it by one tentacle and, like, dangle it from that one.
Please don't do that. The tentacle drops off and then
Oh, poor little thing.
poor little boy.
Poor poisonous monster.
I feel like if you're a professional and you're handling these octopuses, you probably would be wearing... I can't stand the word octopi. I'm going to say octopuses.
You're literally an English teacher, Alison. I
The
can't
word
comprehend.
octopi is fucked. It's a bad word. It's a bad plural.
Okay.
It's going to be octopuses. I was literally roasting their grammar there, but now I'm purposely choosing to use incorrect grammar because it sounds better.
Okay. Don't... Yeah. You
If
continue.
you're a professional octopi handler, then you would be wearing some kind of thick gloves that would not be able to be eaten by the
Yeah, you'd be wearing, like,
octopus.
fancy gardening gloves or, like, water gardening gloves, you know?
For sure. So anyway, it says, a shy and tiny but lethal animal has once again caused panic after a video uploaded to Reddit showed a tourist holding a blue-ringed octopus on their uncovered hand.
It's just...
The video... The video was captioned, "What a pretty octopus," written in Mandarin, and as the unsuspecting beachgoer handled and filmed the brightly coloured sea creature. Oh, don't pick up sea creatures.
We're not... Firstly, they're not supposed to come out of the water by design. Like, that's not where they want to be.
No, that's not their ideal place to be.
This is that kind of thing, it always just makes me think about a big reason why I don't love going to the beach, besides, like, sand, it's so coarse, it gets everywhere, is... I just, when I'm in the water, I feel like I'm on an alien planet. Like, I don't feel like I'm meant to be there. Like, I'm invading
you're not,
someone's
because
home.
Octopuses, as I'm...
Jesus.
Octopus are the... Octopiece.
Octodaddies. I'm going to start calling them octodaddies.
Octopiece are the intelligent beasts of the ocean. They're like the humans of the ocean.
Yeah. And, like, I wouldn't go into an Octoboy's home and, like...
Octoboy, I like that.
I like Octoboy too. I'm going to go with Octoboy.
Yeah, Octoboy, Octoboys.
So, like, if an octopus came into my house, I would freak the fuck out. Because, firstly, I don't know if it's poisonous. Secondly, it's slimy and gross. Thirdly, I just don't like other beings being in my home without, like, my explicit permission.
You just, like, look through the little peephole on your door because you heard someone knocking, and it's just, like, an octopus sitting there with, like, a lot of pamphlets. And it's going to, like, try and, like, indoctrinate you to its religion.
Okay, but for the sake of, like, contrast, it's like that, but if the octopus was, like, as tall as a building, and it just kind of walked in there, didn't really acknowledge your existence, and kind of just, like, stood around for a bit, kicked over everything, and left. Like, that's what's happening.
This octopus that's as tall as a building, like, brushes back your curtains and sees you there and, like, sticks its camera lens through your window.
It's camera lens, which is the size of a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're there, like, naked and exposed.
and then you're like, you close it, and it gets, like, a lamppost and starts poking you with this lamppost. And it's like, play for me. Play for my camera.
And then on Octopus 9 News, it's an exclusive story. It's like, dangerous humans spotted in local suburb.
Like, I don't feel... I feel very bad for the octopus in this situation. I don't feel bad for these people at all, because...
It's a profoundly silly thing to do.
It's just... It's hard to feel bad for someone when they're tormenting something that's like 100th of the size of them.
Rule of thumb... Don't pick up sea creatures from the ocean. It may be deadly, but also it may just be very distressing to the poor sea creature in the ocean.
I feel like our fear of a lot of animals is quite irrational. Like, people who are... Like, I was scared of dogs as a kid.
Yeah.
And I still get a bit touchy around, like, the bigger ones. But, like, I could fucking take a dog. I'm way bigger than a dog. Like... I don't know why. Like, a cat, for example. It'll scratch you, but it's also tiny. Like, if I punched it, it would die. Like, there's no need to be afraid of it. And yeah, we are. We're a very wussy species.
I feel like a lot of the attacks on humans from animals too are either because A, human is in their habitat.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when humans get attacked by sharks. Actually, a lot of the people who get attacked by sharks are very anti-shark cull. You'll notice, like, all of the surfers who have been bit are like, no, we don't want to cull the sharks. We were in their territory and we knew that. We took that risk when we chose to go here. And, like, things like snakes as well. I mean, there's some species that are aggressive, but the majority just want to fucking sit in the sun and sunbathe and enjoy their day. And then someone comes along and says, oh, it's a snake, and starts poking it.
Yeah. And just like
you deserve to get bit.
The law of the land in our society is that if someone or something comes into your home, you are allowed to eat that thing or person.
Sure.
That's like the rule. So I get why... If I go into a shark's house and the shark's like, fuck yes, delivery snack. Like,
it's Uber Eats.
Like, I get it, man. Like, this is like your whole jam. You've been just hanging out and food's come to your door. You're into it, and I can't judge for that.
Basically, yeah.
Animals must view us as like kaijus. Like,
we're just awful.
These giant creatures that just wreck stuff.
Sometimes I think about, like, my pets, right? And a lot of the time, my mum likes to put clothes on our pets. And I just think, like, how does it feel for the dog?
I think it feels like torment. Or
now,
like...
One of the dogs seems to have no problem being dressed up in clothes. The other dog seems to go into, like, a catatonic state when you try and put its shirt on.
Oh, poor little thing.
Yeah, we tend to not clothe that dog as much as the one who seems to not give a crap.
I think that's maybe why I respect cats so much, is because they assert their dominance over human beings in such a distinctive... Like, they're the boss.
They're the boss.
They're the most arrogant animals that exist, and I kind of have to love that. Because, like,
You have to respect that, yeah.
It's this creature that's, like, 10 times their height, and it looks at it, and it's like, you fucking do what I say right now, or I'm going to have a fit. Like... Yeah,
basically, I'm going to meow a lot. And that's going to annoy you, and you're going to do what I want.
If I met a giant, I wouldn't boss it around. Like, you know?
You know, like, how cats do that thing where they'll meow at the door for a long time because they want to go outside, and then as soon as you go outside, they'll sit there and meow again to let you back, you know?
Yeah.
So you let them back in. They do that just to prove they can.
Do you think the human giant equivalent is just like standing by the door and being like, Brian, Brian,
Hey,
Brian,
hey,
Brian,
hey,
let me out, Brian.
hey, buddy, hey, hey.
As soon as you get let out, you do like one thing and then you're like, Brian, Brian.
Oi, mate, come on. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And this giant is just trying to do its work, you know, because it's a work from home giant. It's quite progressive. Anyway, back to the octopus.
Yes.
So basically, this tourist has picked up the octopus in his bare hand, or in her bare hand, which is not ideal.
No.
And the rest of the story is just going to explain why that is not ideal. It says, marine ecology expert Michael Coe from the University of Melbourne said picking up an octopus exposes the hand to the beak, a few millimetres long, horny barb located on the bottom of the octopus between its tentacles. It can only bite if it's on top of something, he said.
Like it was.
Like on your bare hand, for example. Designed to pierce the exoskeletons of crabs, the octopus's beak releases a neurotoxin from its glands that causes paralysis, causing its prey to stop breathing and die within an hour.
Jesus Christ, it's... Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like the chemical weapons of animals. It's the worst thing.
It's not ideal.
I hear neurotoxin and I think of like Russian secret agents.
It sounds very Cold War. So just the last bit of advice from this, about the last bit of thing that it says here. Mr. Coe said that ordinarily the blue-ringed octopus is shy and does not pose a threat if left alone. The animal is nocturnal, mostly hiding during the day and looking for food at night. So, long story short, don't pick up sea creatures. Just leave them.
You think it'd be obvious?
Yeah.
Just
don't do it.
Let me see if I've got any fun stories.
It's not worth the gram.
No, it's true. Okay, so I'm doing a bit of a repeat of yesterday, whatever. Same difference, and in that all my stories are from stuff.co.nz, because that website is pulling up a lot of the slack that the Australian news industry is currently experiencing for me. But this story is actually about an Australian thing that happened.
Oh, okay.
So this is written by Brittany Degara. Australian woman writes letter with list of demands for future boyfriend.
Fair enough. Good on her. Get what you want.
One Australian woman has decided to move past dating apps and find a man the old-fashioned way, by post. But creepers, drinkers, and unfit people, both physically and mentally, need not apply.
I like that she has to specify, firstly, no creepers, which I feel like should be a given, but unfortunately it's not.
No. Are you single and between the age of 26 and 34? Read on, the letter stated. The dating advertisement, delivered to a number of households in Melbourne, Australia, detailed the anonymous 26-year-old's issues with dating apps. These are things that normally happen. The conversation lacks any sort of intellect. Horrible dirty talk. Which, both of those are true.
Fair enough.
She also detailed the attributes she looks for in a potential suitor. Ideally, her future partner is under 35, doesn't go out and get trashed with friends every weekend, and is in good mental and physical health. I'm not your therapist. The relationship quickly becomes unsexy, she wrote. So that's a cool way of looking at emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
Sending physical letters to strangers detailing your likes and dislikes and providing contact information is a risky move, and one that she was completely aware of. I realise this is a perfect way to attract a bunch of creepers, but I'm going to give it a go, she wrote. The author took other precautions for her safety, such as using a newly created email address and letting potential partners know in advance they'll be meeting in a public space. Got to keep it safe, she wrote.
Fair.
So, I like this concept of, saying, fuck Tinder, I'm going to go right to the source and just, do a mailbox bomb.
Mailbox drop.
Of everyone in my neighbourhood.
Why not? Because then they're local. Then you don't have to travel very far to go to their house.
Oh, and also down the bottom it says, please, no gym photos, no cliche photos. It's all been done. Be a bit different. Which, given that she's done this specific thing, I actually feel she is justified in
I
requesting.
feel like she can, I feel like she can say that. If your photo is like you and your mates in a bar, like having a martini or something, I don't think you're within your right to say, do something different. But if you're doing a mailbox drop, sure.
She's demonstrated a lot of shit. She can type a full letter. She can print stuff. She knows how to, like, navigate the area. Like,
she knows how mail works.
She's already, like, a competent adult in my eyes. So, like, she's doing pretty well.
I really want to know if this worked out for her.
I know, right? But I think the problem is the only way would be to find out would be to, like, contact her via post, and that's unfortunately not possible. So there was, like, it got posted onto Reddit, and there were some different responses for it. So some people were like, if you want to meet people offline, you got to talk to them, not wait for an email. That's just Tinder with extra steps. But some people did get it. They were like, this isn't something I'd do, but God, at least she's trying something new rather than just wasting her time in futile frustration with dating apps that aren't working for her.
Well, that's true, exactly.
That is true. It also feels like that person
if you don't want that fucking, if you don't want that letter, just chuck it in the bin. Done.
So I'm just trying to find her list of requirements that I can read out.
Of course.
Okay, so these are the things that she provides about herself. So she says she wants someone who lives a life without a reliance on drinking and drugs.
Fair enough.
I like that she phrases it like that, though. She's like, you can dabble, just don't rely.
Yeah.
You keep fit without being obsessed about it.
Fair.
Again, like, that's reasonable.
That's reasonable. Like, all I want, we can go for a walk every now and again.
So she says...
But no F-45 people.
She provides her height in centimetres, which is nice, I guess. She loves keeping active with bike riding, yoga, walking, the ocean, cooking, craft, and plants. She genuinely seems like a very cool, well-rounded person.
Are you going to send her a letter?
Unfortunately, I don't meet the age restriction and also the sound of mind problem. So, like...
Okay, well, that's not... Yeah.
I feel like I have two deal breakers in that I'm a baby and that I'm fucked up. So, like... Unfortunately, I can't do this one.
Oh, no.
Alas.
And maybe someone else will drop a letter in your mailbox.
It's like, I'm looking for someone who is kind of broken, but, like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And I can do that. That's like low pressure. I'm into that.
For sure.
Do you have anything else? Any stories?
Actually, when you mentioned this story, it just reminded me of a story that I read yesterday, which I thought I'd pull up. We're not going to delve too much into this, because I feel like it's Vice media, so it's kind of self-explanatory, if I read the headline.
Yeah.
So this is an article that I read on Vice Media about dating websites yesterday, actually. And this is someone's social experiment that they did. And it said, I pretended to be a young Joseph Stalin on Tinder, and it went really well.
Because young Joseph Stalin was hot as shit. That's the fucked up thing. He was a good-looking dude.
Well, that's what basically the social experiment was. It said, hot people seem to get away with anything on dating apps, but does that rule still apply when those people are dictators?
Does it include genocide is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
so,
a lot of people were into it.
Were they named Joseph Stalin?
Well, yes.
Oh, shit.
So he used the pictures of Joseph Stalin. He used Joseph Stalin's name, and his description says, senior editor at Prada Revolutionary, blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. And the quote down the bottom, there's a lot of information it's like always anti-fascist, beardy boys, fuck Nazis, lots of weird stuff in there. Anyway, it goes to, relationships come and go, but only love remains. Only the love is immortal. I believe that there is no relationship without conflicts. Never-ending peace only exists in the cemetery.
Jesus.
It's quite grim.
Is that a quote from Stalin? I could buy him saying that.
Well, it is a quote from Stalin, but he replaced the word Nazis come and go, but Germany remains. Instead of
right.
Relationships come and go, but love remains.
Okay. Okay, look. So, young Joseph Stalin, like, he's definitely a good-looking man. Everyone's going on about fucking everyone's going on about fucking Ted Bundy because they're all psychopaths. But, like, the young Joseph Stalin is legitimately... Look, he's an attractive man. He's a horrible human being, but he can get it. And here's the thing. If a young Joseph Stalin appeared to me today, that would mean that he has, like, cracked time travel. And there is no way I'm not getting in on that.
Well, with the... with this whole social experiment, basically, apparently a lot of the people knew who Joseph Stalin was, obviously.
Yes.
And they kind of, like, played along because they thought it was, like, a funny meme, you know, and was, like, talking about a lot of communism jokes with him, all this kind of stuff. And then there were people who clearly had no idea what was going on and really wanted to bone Joseph Stalin.
God.
And then... there were, like, some people who were just kind of like, I wonder who made this account. I really want to know the person behind this. And so in the end, he ended up, like, organising a date with a girl named Sophia, who he met through Tinder as Joseph Stalin. And then she agreed to go on a date with him. And obviously he wasn't Joseph Stalin, and she knew that. But she was just like, I just wanted to see who would make this account because it was kind of funny. And then, he never heard from her again after the date because she kind of... her curiosity was satiated, you know. By that point, she knew who made the account and she was kind of like, it's a Vice writer.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like if you go on a Tinder date and it turns out to be someone doing an experiment for an article, my question is like, well, I thought you were into me, but fine, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I wanted.
Exactly. Like, maybe she thought, like, this guy was, you know, kind of weird pretending to be Joseph Stalin, but thought it was kind of funny and thought, hey, well, he wants to go on a date with me, so let's try it out. We've got a similar sense of humour, and then it's like, oh, I'm actually writing an article for Vice. That's an instant turn-off, I feel.
I just don't want a stranger to try to turn my romantic life into their content on the
a Vice article.
No, like, not on the first date, you know? Like, at least, like, get to know me before you try and mine me for, like, fucking clicks.
Anyway, if you want to know more about that story, just give it a read. It's interesting. But I do have some other stories to get into that were pre-planned.
Quickly related, my Tinder bio just says, my name is actually Anastasia Romanov. Shh. And I think that's a very funny joke, and not a lot of people have got it. And I'm heartbroken by that.
How have they not got that?
I don't know. Apparently
Did they not watch that, like, Anastasia movie that I thought was Disney for a long time, but wasn't?
Wasn't it? Is it like DreamWorks?
No, it's that other one that made, like, the Swan Princess and all of those things.
Oh. But no, apparently no one has either watched that or studied, you know, modern Russian history. And I'm just never going to find love because that is a requirement for me. It knows a lot about Russian modern history.
You must have studied Russian modern history and have watched that Anastasia movie, which was made by 20th Century Fox by the Don Bluth Animation Company.
Oh. All right, fair enough. Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
There you go.
What was your other story going to be?
Well, this is a story that you may have come across as well in the week that was.
Okay.
As you know, it's kind of the season where all the kids are going back to school for the year. And so there's a lot of going back to school stories. And we love stories about, like, people, hard-working, everyday Aussies making sacrifices to buy houses and look after their family.
Yeah, love it.
So, this story is from the Sydney Morning Herald, and it says, the headline is a quote from one of the talent in the story, and it says, the equivalent of taking a $30,000 a year pay cut. Parents sacrifice for children's schooling. Dear.
The person who doesn't understand the concept of buying things and how that works.
Well, when I bought my new laptop, it was the equivalent of taking a $250 a year pay cut for getting a product that I paid for. I got it secondhand. That's why it's very cheap. I was going to say,
that's an extremely good
It's a good
quality
deal.
laptop.
It's a good deal from my family. Nepotism was involved in that exchange.
Beautiful.
But anyway, so essentially, you've read this story. You know this bullshit. Essentially, the story is this family has had to spend a lot of money to send their kid to a private school. And in the, like, little Facebook description that you kind of click through, it was framed as this family has had to pull their child from public school and so therefore has unfortunately had to pay out $30,000 for private school. No one has to pay $30,000 for private school.
I have several things to say to this. One, obviously you didn't have to put your kid from public school. If you didn't like the public school, you could, like, move or send them to a different school.
Go to a different public school?
Yeah, there are options. Secondly, I feel confident in saying that there are private schools that cost less than $30,000 a year.
Well, let's get into that, because there's a lot to unpack in this story that I feel like...
They wanted one with straw hats, though, so...
straw hats and, like, long ties and really stiff blazers.
They want a tie that brushes the ground as they walk
Exactly.
around.
Exactly. On top of school fees of more than $27,000 a year, Joseph Craven is preparing to pay thousands in additional costs for uniforms, extracurricular activities, camps and excursions as his son, Max, 12, gets ready to go back to school. Can I just say, imagine being Max and being featured in this story alongside your very, very, very entitled parents.
How do you think this story, like, originated?
I don't know.
Do you think the journalists knew them, or do you think they, like, called into the fucking paper being like, I have a tip, private school's expensive? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know where this story came from or why it was written.
Yeah. It's like such
bizarre.
a non-entity.
It's like all of those stories about people buying houses. It's like, where did this come from? Is there, like, some PR company spinning out all these stories about the struggle of the upper middle class? Because that's kind of where it seems to come from.
I'm just going to start sending all my receipts to Channel 9, and then maybe, like, one day I'll get a news story out of it, because it'll be like...
Basically.
It'll be like, iTunes movie rental costs $7. Outrage.
So it says, Mr. Craven said those extra costs could add up to as much as $5,000 at Redham House, a private school in Sydney's east, and required a lot of planning and a few sacrifices to carve out of the family budget.
They're in, like, the eastern suburbs. Like, this is, like, fancy area. What kind of fuck... Oh, my God. All right.
They live in Clovelly.
Yeah.
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 Now, there's a funny part about that, because later in the story, it says that they were having to work he said his wife went back to working full-time, and they considered moving away from Clovelly. They had to consider moving away from the eastern suburbs, Chris. You don't understand how dire this situation is.
Of white people shit I've heard.
The most, like, white upper middle class crap
This is the
that's ever
waspiest
been...
shit I've ever heard. And it's just like, I don't like it when people do respond to problems by saying, like, you know, kids in Africa. Like, but there are more fucking important things than this. Like,
yeah.
I know everybody's problems are relative, but yours are non-problems.
So this is where it kind of gets into where I think the actual story came from, and then they just kind of, like, used this talent to kind of be the human face to this story.
Yeah.
But first I'll read this quote because I find it... This is where the headline quote comes from. It says, "We took Max out of public school at the end of year 5 because we weren't happy with it. And it was a big change. It was the equivalent of taking a $30,000 a year pay cut in salary," Mr. Craven said.
That's not how money works. It was the equivalent of making the same amount of money but giving $30,000 of it to another person. Like,
you have consciously chosen to send your child to a school that you believe to be better, and you have made that decision to spend your money on that under capitalism. That's your choice. It's not taking a pay cut. It's spending your money on something. Maybe you have to make some sacrifices to make that possible. That's you know, fine,
they have to
whatever.
buy home brand caviar instead of the regular kind. Like, it's not something that happened to you. It's something you did.
Yeah, it's a choice you made. No child has to go to private school. You don't have to send your kid to private school. You don't have to.
Oh my God.
some parents choose to, and that's fine. You make that choice. But you don't have to.
I don't know. I came out of private school as like kind of a poncy dickhead, and that took, I think, a while to get over. And I still definitely have my moments. So like, all I'm saying is that it's a place that costs a lot of money and spits out poncy dickheads. So like,
yeah, well, that's maybe what they want their son to end up like.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's very hard to be down to earth in a private school, I think, because there is like the attitude within the school that the school is inherently better than those around it, even if that's not necessarily the case on all factors. Not that everyone working in the school is pushing that idea, it's just the culture.
My high school was called the Armadale School, which is the most spectacularly arrogant name for anything ever, because there's literally like 6 other high schools in Armadale.
Yeah, but that one's the Armadale school.
My uniform in high school, I'm just going to describe it to you because it's the least sexy outfit ever created by mankind. So it's a short-sleeved khaki green shirt, like button-up collared shirt, khaki shorts, like Steve Irwin.
Wonderful!
Knee-high khaki socks, black shoes, then you get a yellow and blue, like yellow and navy striped tie, and a yellow and navy striped blazer over the top of this Steve Irwin outfit, and also an akubra.
Now, I feel like, because I also went to a private school, a very Anglican private school for high school, and then before that I was, churned through a few Catholic schools. But my uniform, I feel like at least had a nice colour scheme.
Not khaki and blue.
No, it was kind of like the typical, like, navy and kind of like burgundy red and white and grey. Which I feel like is a palatable colour scheme.
That's achievable, at least.
So I had, as a girl, I had to wear the classic black shoes. We weren't allowed to wear high socks, on the other hand. We had to wear our socks pushed down. Little limp navy socks.
Limp.
And then a grey skirt that had to come down below the knees. Mm-hmm. And a kind of somewhat see-through white shirt.
That's such an odd combination of things, with the see-through shirt but the knees be covered.
I find, like, I don't know what it is with all of the school shirt materials, but they are all somewhat see-through. Yeah. And it's not great for kids to be wearing that, especially young teenage girls to be wearing that, when the only bras that are available for young teenage girls are very brightly coloured bras.
Yeah. They all have, Bratz dolls on them or some shit.
Yeah. If you're, like, an A-cup, size 10 A-cup, you're not getting, like, a beige bra. You're getting one that's got, like, candy unicorn flavour rainbows all over it.
To be fair, that sounds like a pretty sick pattern to have on a bra.
That's a very sick pattern to have on a bra. But when you have a somewhat see-through school shirt, you will see the candy unicorn flavour sensation bra there.
I feel like at that point, you just gotta, like... That's approximating, like, music festival wear. Like,
sure.
Because that's... Music festival wear is, like, a really bright bra and, like, a mesh tank top. And that's kind of, like, what you wear.
It's edging towards that. But I remember there was one day, we all got sat down, like, all the girls in my year got sat down, and we got told that we needed to wear less colourful bras because our bras were being see-through. Now, here's the problem I see. Because it's a school uniform, we all had to wear that shirt. So could they have not just designed a shirt that wasn't see-through, and then that wouldn't be a problem?
No, that'd be too expensive. Can't do that.
Because, the girls, most of the time people weren't trying to make their bras visible, but even if they were, if the shirt wasn't see-through, that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But then we also had to wear a navy blazer, a burgundy tie, and a kind of a straw hat. A blue navy straw hat. And that was my look of the year.
I find that whenever I have to wear a suit, I get very self-conscious because the suit shirts that I buy, because I'm, like, cheap and I can't afford, like, the fancy linen whatever ones. Like, I always feel like my nipples are viewable to the world. And it's just not a great feeling when you're supposed to be formal, you know?
You need, like a man bra that just... The entire point is just to, like, cover the nipples.
I think what I need is just to wear pasties under my suit.
but make them really sequined.
Yes! Fuck me, that would be an aesthetic. Can I give us another story?
Absolutely.
Okay. This is also from stuff.co.nz, but this is a global story.
Okay.
Doctors to ration condoms after global condom shortage.
Oh, no. Why is there a condom shortage?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
I like to believe it's just because everyone's real randy, but... medical professionals are being forced to ration prescriptions of Durex condoms as increased demand is causing a global shortage. So it is actually because people are getting real randy. So randy that now you need prescription condoms.
Where in the world... I guess there's some places in the world where you'd need prescription condoms. But where is this story talking about?
This is New Zealand. This is based in, like, Queenstown or somewhere.
You need prescription condoms in Queenstown?
Apparently. To be fair, there's, like, a lot of tourists in Queenstown, so, like... I get that you'd need, like, the hardcore shit. Like, you can't just use the regular condoms, because you've got a lot...
You can't use the, like, ones that you find at the service station.
No, like, you don't know what these people have. Like, you need to make sure you are, like, armor that shit.
Sure.
So, the shortage only affects Durex Confidence 56mm condoms and Gold Night with a K, Gold Night Larger, which are available by prescription subsidised by Pharmac, the government's drug buying agency.
Oh, I see. So you can get, like, free condoms which have been given a subscription for.
Yeah, so you have to get...
Not a subscription, a prescription, sorry.
Yeah, you have to get a prescription for your free condoms.
Right, but if you wanted to buy some condoms, you could head on down to the local store and purchase some.
Well, apparently they are in, like, very short supply at the moment, which is meaning more people are having to get the prescription ones, I think.
Okay, interesting.
I feel like New Zealand's condom economy is very different to Australia's condom economy.
I don't know, because I feel like they're quite ezy to get here.
Yeah. But apparently in New Zealand they're just so dang randy that there's, like, a limited supply.
I just don't... Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it... As I'm walking down the, like, aisle that has all that kind of stuff in it, I don't think I've ever seen the shelves empty.
No. Can I pose a theory to you about why this is, and why New Zealand in particular is suffering from this? Because, like, I was thinking about, like, why now would people be randy? Because I feel like the world is quite a dark place, and I think a lot of people are depressed, and I don't know about other people, but I don't get real randy when I'm depressed. Like... But New Zealand seems like one of the few countries in the world that vaguely has its shit together. So I think that sense of, like, superiority and, like, everything's going to be okay is meaning the Kiwis are just, like, getting down dirty.
I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a theory. It's a theory that makes sense.
To meet the increased demand, they are manufacturing extra products, which is expected to arrive in May. So the Kiwis have got a bit of a drought coming on, unfortunately.
Yeah, until May. That's quite a while.
They are also manufacturing additional quantities of Shield Blue 53ml. I fucking love the names that they give condoms. Durex Confidence 56mm. Gold Night, like the Dark Knight Larger. Like...
Larger.
Yeah, larger.
Larger.
It's just called larger. It's not called large. The point is you're larger than someone else, I think, is what it's trying to get across.
It's true, because if they said large, then that might be a lie. But surely...
Well, you could name any of them larger, huh? Like,
they're all larger.
Statistically, except for one person, anyone can wear larger condoms.
You're the one person who can't.
But I feel like that's its own achievement in of itself.
Yeah, well, that's a bragging right.
It's a claim to fame.
Yeah.
So apparently this is only for some brands of condoms, so some of them are, like, more in demand than others. Some people may have a preference for a particular brand of condom and may be uneasy about changing, Betty, who is, like, a doctor, pharmacist person, wrote. Mm-hmm. Patients can be assured that all brands of funded condoms are effective and safe to use.
So really, there's just Durex has been so successful with their advertising that people don't want to accept free condoms of other brands.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
I have found 3 discrete news stories about this. Like,
it's a very serious problem.
There's another type of Durex condom called Durex Extra Safe 56, so they're like extra thick condoms, I believe.
Yeah, they're extra safe. So I assume that if your house sets on fire during the act, you will be protected.
The condom is thick enough that it also functions as a fire blanket.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And it's really stretchy, so you can like pull it over your whole body.
It turns into like a morph suit, but it's fire retardant.
So you just like run away from the fire.
Oh my god. So apparently this shortage follows a shortage of women's oral contraceptive in New Zealand in December. So like, New Zealand is kind of fucked up at the moment.
Yeah.
And I found a following story, and I just really enjoyed the headline of it, which was "Condoms Rationed." Which is beautiful.
That is very good. Very good.
It's the war times, and people need to get their dang nethers under control.
Someone get an emergency shipment out to Queenstown right this moment. So they get a helicopter to drop some off.
Just make sure that they're there by the winter, because they're going to fucking need them. Because
for sure.
That's skiing season. A lot of people are going to turn up. Do we want to wrap up the show, Alice?
Yeah, look, it took quite a turn at the end. I thought we were like, getting through quite a while without any like really racy content, but
I don't think it was this. I think this was
I don't think it was that racy. We were talking about protection and
safety. It was a serious medical educational piece.
Absolutely. It was actually about like more about trade embargoes and kind of
and like
shortages and famine and all that kind of stuff. Was
the condom famine.
The condom famine. Yeah.
Thank you everybody for listening to the show. It's been fun to make. I don't know why I talked about the show like it was in past tense. We're not going to stop doing it anytime soon, I don't think. I'm enjoying it. I want to get to 50 at least so I can say I did it.
Get to 69 episodes and then we can say it's a nice podcast.
Actually, that is my life goal. Is get to 69 episodes. I want to do some sort of special for 69 episodes.
Oh dear.
But yeah, recommend the show to your friends. Follow us on Instagram or Twitter at redmenacecast.com. Not Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I'm a bit hungover this morning, guys. I'm kind of out of it.
redmenacecast.com.
Just follow us on all of the shit.
Find us on there, and you can search it yourself.
Yeah. I'll tell you what all the real names are of the things next week. I just can't right now. I have a final pun headline. This one is extremely bad. So this is
I'm excited.
In the Australian Financial Review. This was...
Oh no, it's in there.
So this one's kind of old, but it was sent to me. And so this is about statues that people are objecting to. In Australia. Ozymandias look upon these statues in despair. It's
quite a niche.
Yes.
A niche pun there.
I hope you like poetry if you want to get this headline.
They're really like assuming a lot of their audience.
They read the Financial Review, Alice, and they're fancy people.
Well, that's true. People living in Clovelly and sending their kids to $30,000 a year private schools would be reading the Australian Financial Review.
Exactly. And they will also read that poet whose name is escaping me, and I'm going to get roused up by my parents for not remembering. Okay. Thank you for listening, folks. Goodbye.
Ciao.